exploit that we have on the PS4, which we've never had up until now. We've had Hypervisor workarounds, which were not perfect, that had a lot of issues like the lip hijacker, and now we finally have the first proper Hypervisor exploit. Now, it does only work up to 2.50 firmware right now. It will support 1.x up to 2.50. And the initial release only supports 2.50 firmware right now. Offsets will have to be gathered on the other firmwares to get support for those, so this is still very early stages. It was just released only a few hours ago since I'm recording here. Now, this is coming to us after the Hardware.io conference, where Spectre did his talk showcasing the exploit. Now, that has not been made public, so that talk will most likely be uploaded to the Hardware YouTube channel in the next couple of weeks. And Spectre is also going to release the slides from that talk. We do have several pictures from that talk from people in the audience so we can see, some of the things that were discussed. But we have the whole exploit released now anyway. So if we head over to the GitHub project, now the way this exploit works, it's a little bit involved what you have to do here. So if we go down to the instructions, there's actually two exploits included. There's a jump table exploit and AQA flags exploit. It seems the jump table exploit is the older exploit, and the one that you're really intended to use is the newer QA flags version. So we head down here to important notes. It says currently only to .50 firmware is supported for enabler hand. Support for other firmware versions will be added at a later time. The exploit payload is by Hypervisor.elf and will need to be sent twice before suspending the system, and again after resuming. You will have to put the system into rest mode manually yourself, and then kernel dump from QA. Flags exploit will not contain Hypervisor.data at the moment if this is important to you. Dump using the jump table exploit after porting or disable nested paging first. That is on the to-do list, so yeah. The actual information about how to run the exploit. You run the UMTX exploit chain using WebKit or BDJ, and then run the ELF loader, which will automatically run the ELF loader in the WebKit version. When you run the UMTX exploit, it will then run the ELF loader, and you want to then send the bypasser.elf file using netcat or a payload injector. And then from there, you put the system into rest mode. After loading that payload, you then power the system back on, and then you send the bypasser ELF file a second time. Now, you can do this using John Thornblum's ELF which loader, will run in the background, I believe, and recover after rest mode. So it'll still be running. You can just send the ELF file again. But if you're not using John Thornblum's ELF loader, you'll have to use the one in the WebKit, which means running the UMTX exploit a second time after recovering from rest mode, and then sending the Hypervisor ELF file again. And then that should get the exploit up and running. Now, what is pretty interesting is there is actually a version of As you can see here, Homebrew Enabler. Hen is supported currently for 2.50, so we actually have a Homebrew Enabler already ready to go. By the looks of things, so yeah. Pretty exciting stuff here. This is still the very early version of it. There's not a huge number of people that are on these older 1.x and 2.x, but this could certainly help development. Improve developments overall, even for higher firmwares. Because being able to dump the kernel and being able to access it could lead to new developments that could perhaps be ported to higher firmware. So there could still be some benefits that come out of this for people on higher firmwares. Even if you're not on a 1.x or 2.x firmware, that's not the only developments that we have. There actually has been some significant developments for 7.61 and higher firmware. Let's go ahead and look into some of that. In relation to the 7.61 UMTX exploit through the Blu-ray drive. So Hammer 83 has managed to achieve stability. With the Blu-ray drive exploit, you can now run the Blu-ray drive exploit on firmwares up to 7.61 without kernel panicking and getting it to run all the way to completion. So when you run this successfully, it will say that a kernel read write was serialized for a follow-up execution. Once you see that message, and then it will also come up that the jar loader is waiting for another payload. Once you see those two messages, that means it has run through to completion. And so far, it seems pretty stable. I've not had any kernel panics. I've been able to use the UMTX1 snapshot and the UMTX2 snapshots that were uploaded 2 days ago, and they seem to be working just fine. We also now have a kdata dump snapshot.jar as well. which can allow you to actually dump your kernel data from your PS5, which means we're now moving into the next phase of development. With this particular version of the exploit, we've moved on from trying to achieve stability to trying to actually get payloads ported, and part of that is being able to dump the kernel data for your firmware, so that we can then get the necessary offsets from that kernel data to port payloads to work on your firmware version. So that's the stage that we're at the moment. We also have the PS5K stuff that's trying to be ported onto other firmwares too. Although there is an issue where it's getting stuck at the moment and is not able to gather all of the updates. I think we're still waiting for Slayas to perhaps find a way to, fix and update the porting script to get it into a working stage. There are other developers, people like Echo are also working on improving the porting tool to be able to get all of the necessary offsets. So anyway, that's the progress that has been made. We're also looking at a potential FTP server being ported over soon. So yeah, some good stuff going on there. So moving on to some more news. We're not done. We actually have Shuffle 2, who has also done a talk at this time S2020, for which was the Kaspersky Security Analyst I believe Summit. So you can see here, he made a post saying he's having a great time at SES 2024. You can find the slides for my talk here. Didn't get through all the slides in time. And then he also provided a link to a tool he created to interface with the EMC, EFC, and EAP. So this talk was primarily about exploiting different components. Hardware components on the PS5, the EMC, the EFC, and the EAP, one of those being the Southbridge Another chip. One being the SSD controller. I believe so he's created a tool to be able to access those devices. And he's posted the slides of his talk here, so you can go ahead and look through them yourself. So generally this is mostly useful for the repair industry, for people trying to repair PS5 consoles, for getting things like error codes, and having firmware dumps from these chips, and various other things that can be useful in repairing consoles. So that's primarily what this is. But this could also provide some entry points, as it says here. So the Selena reasons to hack controls, power clocks resets on the board, makes automation of the board easy. Think of it like baseboard management controller. BMC serves as an entry point to hack anything else on the board, so yeah. This could potentially open up the door to some kind of hardware level exploits, or maybe just something close to getting a revert method, or something like that going on the PS5. But for the most part, it's gonna be mainly for, repairing diagnostics, that kind of stuff. But it could potentially open up something interesting. Hopefully, so that's what we've got there. And if we putting it all together, everything is wrapped into a Raspberry Pi Pico and firmware. Python scripts interfaces with various PS5 and embeds UARTs. The Selena exploit in Pico firmware for better determinism. Easily inject code into EMC, EFC, and EAP and poke at things. So we basically have like a PS5 UART tool created here that can be flashed onto a Raspberry Pi Pico. That can be used to interface with the EMC and the EFC chip using these exploits. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there from Shuffle to now following the presentation. Zico also released a bunch of EMC dumps for different EMC firmwares. Kind of a mix going from 1.0 up to 10.0, as well as a bunch of EMC error codes, which can obviously be useful for diagnostics and repair. Then finally, before we end the video, one last quick mention, which is that we did get a PS5 10.20 update. So a new update for the PS5. Obviously, you're not gonna want to update if you want to jailbreak your PS5 in future. You want to stay on as old a firmware as possible, as we always say. However, it doesn't look like there's been any major security updates in this version, at least not publicly anyway. Normally, they would say that they've improved security to the system software or something like that, but no mention of that here. Looks like a fairly small update, but that's basically it for now. So hope you guys enjoyed this video or find the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and once again, I'll hopefully see you